All right, this one is going to be a bit dark. This story idea is essentially about a time looper who every time they pass away, they go back 24 hours in time. It's not necessarily a new idea, but I feel like it could be expanded upon in an interesting way. So the main thing that I wanted to put into it is maybe the looper goes all the way to the end of their life and they die of heart failure, of old age, whatever, and then they go back 24 hours. And then they keep living that same time over and over again. At some point, they die a little bit sooner and they go back, exactly 24 hours. So they go back a bit further. And then they realize, I could keep going back, couldn't I? So they keep going back. They sometimes force it onto themselves. And they keep going back all the way to their youth, undoing all of their life, which would have been like, a loving marriage with a few kids. They undo all of it, a little bit tragic, but they go all the way back to their youth and they just try tasting a bunch of poison, a bunch of medicine. They just try and find some way to get eternal youth because they know that they'll constantly experience this for the rest of forever. They may as well have a functioning body. So through some combination of different medicines, they've achieved eternal youth. They don't know what combination because some medicines take longer to go into effect, and it might be a mix of different combinations of medicines in the body. It might not work on other people because those combinations just wouldn't work on someone who's normal in terms of moving forward in time linearly. For some reason, they alone are able to become eternally youthful, and they alone are the only ones who loop back in time, right? So now, that was the first part of this time looping story that's a little bit of not really a twist, but just sort of diving deeper onto what it would mean to, loop back in time after death. So the actual story is not about this character. Essentially, this character is grouped with a bunch of other, like maybe 3 other adventurers or whatever, and they're all trying to go slay the Demon King or whatever. I don't really care. But the main thing is that the time looper sort of solves all their problems because they've looped through this a bunch of times before. Like in any given scenario that they're in, they've probably looped through it like tens of thousands of times. So I have this little interaction per se, and hopefully it's interesting. So let me just dive into this. Funny joke. Not funny. Actually, how many times have you told me that joke? Once. Don't worry about it. Just because I loop back in time when I die doesn't mean I do it all the time, alright? Ah, good. Looping back in time must get, pretty lonely. No, all you have to do is live in the present. Ah, that's nice. A bit later. So this is where the key was. The key for what? Well, a few hours later, we run into a locked door and we actually can't go back. And there's the key to that door. Wait, didn't you say this was your first loop? Ah, I did say that. Sorry about that. Pulls out a gun and shoots self. And essentially, the plot twist is instead of following the perspective of the time looper, we just continue on this timeline. The looper is gone. They're dead. But the other 3 adventurers are now stuck in a timeline where the looper solved all their problems, but now they no longer exist, and the 3 just have to cope with that as they, are heading towards the end of their journey. That's sort of the idea behind this story, is over-reliance on a time looper, and then eventually, it doesn't work like we all go back in time. It's a different timeline that they go in. Shucks. Anyways, that's sort of the idea behind that. Speaking of looping, there's this really cool Kickstarter called Eternal. You should check it out. It's in the description below. And until next time, thanks for watching.